I'm Mark Ramsey. I'm really thrilled today to have Pat Higby with me. Pat is the CEO of a really interesting new company called XAPPmedia, built on the proposition of making audio advertising interactive. And I have to say, Pat, this is something that's so incredibly obvious, especially in this day and age. It's hard to believe that it's actually novel.
Well, it surprises us a bit that we were first to market with it, but it's interesting. There are some real challenges to making it work in the variety of environments where it really is valuable, and that's when people are what we call ultra mobile. When they're driving, when they're walking, when they're exercising, there's background noise. We have to put together let's say cloud technologies with mobile technologies and voice technologies and make them work in pretty challenging environments. So that's part of why I think this is new right now today with a ubiquitous, high-speed wireless internet. It took this long to do it right.
So really the problem that you're trying to solve here is a problem to say, for an advertiser as well as a consumer, to say, if I hear some offer that's compelling and I want to interact with that offer in some way, I have no way of doing so unless I remember an 800 number, unless I get out a piece of paper and a pencil, or unless I can somehow record the message on the fly and play it later. That's the old way. Tell me what the new solution is that you've come up with.
Well, the new solution is to make it simple, spontaneous, and convenient. The best way for me to show you how a Zap ad works is through a demonstration. So assume you're listening to streaming audio and an ad starts. So you'll hear a little bit of content before the ad actually begins here.
From ABC News, I'm Doug Limerick, now underway in St.
Rick Edelman, ranked #1 independent financial advisor in the nation by Barron's, can help you meet your financial goals. To learn more about Rick's free investment portfolio review, after the beep, just say, Zap me.
Zap me.
Rick and his colleagues at Edelman Financial Services will provide you with a free, no-obligation financial portfolio review to help you get on track to meet your financial goals. If you would like to speak with an Edelman advisor, after the beep, just say, call now.
Call now.
So in that case, the first Zap Me, what's the result of the first Zap Me then?
That was an expansion opportunity. That was to get the listener to engage with the advertiser. And this is where I started saying we're trying to make audio advertising work better for the advertiser, the consumer, and the publisher. So in that case, most of the consumers are just going to ignore it and they'll be right back to the content. Those that engage by saying Zap me in this case, or it could be a brand name, any brand name you want, then they've chosen, okay, I want to hear more about this. This sounds interesting to me. And after that came a call to action, in this case, which happened to be a phone call.
So essentially what you've created is the ability for advertising, for messaging, to expand or contract based on the interest that a particular consumer has with that message.
That's right. So that's that particular aspect. And you don't have to have expansion in the ad. It can go directly to a call to action, but we've got several capabilities that we're bringing to the table. The voice click is the most obvious, the ability to expand, the ability to have calls to action, and the measurability of all of that. So you put it all together and we're bringing to radio something that hasn't existed before. Direct measurability, direct calls to action. All of these things create dramatically higher response rates that are completely measurable.
Okay, so let's go through some of the examples of how this could be used. You've just illustrated with audio on a call to action that results in a callback from someone. What other types what are some other examples of calls to action that I might trigger as a consumer?
So a send coupon which will send an email message. And these are great when you have time sensitivity. You want to bring people into the store on a particular day or within a particular window of time. Think about McDonald's, for example. The average consumer makes their decision to go to McDonald's 5 minutes before they go into the store. So if McDonald's runs a Zap ad that has a coupon that's good for the next 2 hours, they will jump on that. It'll get delivered to their phone, and they go to the drive-thru and they make good on it right then and there. So coupons that are emailed are excellent for time-sensitive types of things. Then we have go-to actions that will bring you directly to a web page, one relevant to this particular offer. We have download app. And if you've been staying up on what Facebook and Google are doing around downloading apps, Facebook claims that a huge portion of all of their advertising revenue is around downloading apps. So you can literally say download app. There really is no end to the actual actions that we can drive because we have a custom action capability as well.
Okay, let me break down a couple of questions then. First of all,
Sure.
give me a percentage-wise sense of what the response rates are like using this technology.
So we don't have enough data to really make a strong statement. What we can do is tell you from the data we've gotten so far that we're seeing response rates that are many multiples of what response rates typically are in radio advertising. The response rates typically for phone calls that are driven by radio ads is pretty low. It's like 1 in 4,000 impressions generates a phone call. We're seeing many, many times that response rate, which means that the value to the advertiser is much greater. It also means the value to the publisher is much greater as well. Okay. So that's about the best statement I can make now. It's many times the response rates that you would get from radio today. And that's from what you described, how radio ads work today, where you're hoping somebody writes it down or remembers it later. In our case, you can act right then and there. So the response rates are naturally higher. It's simple, spontaneous, and convenient.
If I never again hear an 800 number repeated 4 times, it will be too soon. So what is required for a publisher to plug in this technology? What do they have to do?
So what they do is they take our SDK and they build it into their app. This can be done very, very quickly. It's a couple of hours of engineering work, and then of course there's testing that comes after that. That's on the app side what they have to do. Then on the ad server side, we need to integrate with the ad server. So we continue to use their existing ad server, as an example, DoubleClick for Publishers, and that decides which ad will be played and talks to our plugin, which delivers the actual Zap ad from our creative server. So it's a combination of putting a plugin inside their app and then an integration with their ad server.
So if I, apart from the app, much of the streaming usage obviously happens via the stream, via third-party platforms, whatever they may be, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, whatever. What
Right.
about those scenarios where I'm listening right off the web page or I'm listening off a third-party platform?
So we're on mobile only. We're not on the web because there's not ubiquitous microphone connectivity for all the browsers.
Okay.
So strictly on mobile devices today. But it's the same for TuneIn as it would be for Pandora or Spotify. TuneIn has an app. And now what's different for TuneIn is they have live streams. So with a live stream, what happens, initially when you put our plugin in, you can use pre-roll ads. And then in terms of being able to inject ads in the stream, we need to work with the other players out there like Triton and Abacast and AdsWiz to enable that stream to be buffered while our ad is playing and then move on to the content. That way nobody loses any content.
So in other words, it's no longer at that point quite in real time under the assumption that it ever was.
That's right.
Okay. So what it sounds to me though, like when you say a coupon comes to your device or whatever, to some degree, some registration information increases the value proposition to consumers and advertisers alike. So what's the ideal registration information that you gather, and how is it gathered?
So we don't gather that. It's the publisher that gathers that. So most of the internet radio publishers take an email address, and that's typically what we have available to us, so we can deliver an email. All of the other things are outbound. So the phone call is an outbound phone call. Downloading a video is going to a URL to download an app or watch a video. So mainly it's the email address that's available for sending coupons. The other kind of registration information that the publishers have are typically, they know the gender, the age, and the location. And these are obviously useful for targeting. And when you look at the efficacy of Zap ads, it's a combination of all the things people are doing today to target better, but what we're all about is the method. How we remove the friction from allowing somebody to act when they are interested in the offer that's being made. And so that's what Zap ads are all about.
Okay. If I wanted to download an app that had this installed right away, where can I go?
Where you would go is to NPR, National Public Radio. They have an app called NPR News. And in their app, they're running 6 different sponsorships, they call them, rather than ads, that include T. Rowe Price, Carbonite, Smart Car, Fox Searchlight. Advertisers like that are using Zap ads today. But the list is going to grow pretty significantly. Those are the ones that are out there already.
Pat, is it just me, or does this, theoretically, if not practically, dramatically improve the value proposition for advertisers? Does this not make an audio spot on a stream worth infinitely more than any conventional audio spot that's just ported over from the radio world?
I agree wholeheartedly with you. And that's why I think this is a home run for the publishers who have limited ad load. They need to find a way to increase the yield on that limited ad load. So by making these spots more valuable, it makes them able to make money. They're having trouble making money because their royalty rates are so high. Mm-hmm. But when you increase the value of each and every ad in a significant way, you make things better for monetizing internet radio. You make it better for the advertisers because they have now a measurable ROI that's higher than they've seen before. And we believe for the consumer as well, because we've made this so the consumer can opt out by just staying quiet and they get back to their content faster. But they can also, when they do hear an ad that they're interested in, they can act on it right then and there, regardless of what they're doing.
It also seems to me that this is kind of an answer to broadcasters who are hell-bent on simulcasting what's on the air over their stream, including spots, in an effort to maximize monetization for those spots through over-the-air conventional ad buys. Because what you're saying is you can do that if you want, but doing so will extract any potential for added value from those streaming spots, and you'll be running upstream compared to the trends in all other areas of advertising, right?
I agree with you, and it's just going to be a matter of time before people see the efficacy of Zap ads, and then, I think people will be moving to them quickly because everybody is trying to create more value from the inventory that they have.
And what could be better than value that's good for the advertiser and value that's good for the consumer? That sounds like a win all the way around.
That's our plan.
Pat Higbee, CEO of XAPPmedia, XAPPmedia.com. Pat, looks like an awesome product. I can't wait to sample it for myself. Thanks for your time today.